The swamp whispered. The night was dark and foreboding, shrouded in an eerie silence. On December 29, 1972, Eastern Airlines Flight 401, a Lockheed L-1011 Tristar, sliced through the night sky, destined for Miami. The passengers were blissfully unaware of the impending doom. On board were 163 souls, each with their own stories and dreams, unaware of the horror that awaited them just hours away. What should have been a routine flight turned into a nightmare, a tragedy that would leave a chilling mark on aviation history. The crash site was a scene of chaos and despair. This is not just the story of a crash. It is a tale of sorrow and loss, etched into the annals of time. It is the story of what came after. The haunting of Flight 401. The spirits of those lost seem to linger, unable to find peace. This is a story told by the terrified whispers of airline staff. Their accounts are filled with fear and unease, recounting encounters with the supernatural. It is a story woven from the fabric of fear itself, a narrative that chills the spine and stirs the soul. It is a story that asks, can the dead truly reach out from beyond the grave? Can they communicate with the living in ways we cannot comprehend? Can the echoes of tragedy linger in our world, manifesting in steel, wire, and the ghostly apparition of those lost? The haunting presence seemed to defy logic and reason. The story of Flight 401 suggests that they can. The spirits of the departed may indeed reach out, leaving an indelible mark on those who remain. Eastern Airlines Flight 401 departed New York's JFK International Airport, its nose pointed toward the warm lights of Miami, carrying passengers eager to reach their destination. The seasoned crew, led by Captain Bob Loft and experienced First Officer Albert Brooks, anticipated a smooth flight, confident in their abilities and the reliability of their aircraft. However, high above the earth, fate was weaving a different plan, one that would test their skills and resolve in ways they could never have imagined. As the plane approached Miami, a seemingly minor issue arose. The landing gear indicator light failed to illuminate, causing a ripple of concern among the crew. The crew, momentarily distracted by this unexpected problem, didn't notice that the autopilot had subtly disengaged, a critical oversight in the dimly lit cockpit. The plane, unbeknownst to those on board, was slowly losing altitude, drifting towards the unforgiving darkness of the Everglades, a vast and treacherous wilderness. Precious minutes ticked by as the crew, focused on the landing gear issue, remained oblivious to their descent, their attention consumed by the malfunctioning indicator. By the time the chilling realization struck them, it was too late. The altitude had dropped dangerously low, and the ground was rushing up to meet them. Eastern Airlines Flight 401, carrying the hopes and dreams of 163 passengers, slammed into the dark waters of the Everglades, a tragic end to what should have been a routine flight. The swamp, a silent observer to countless tragedies, had claimed another victim, its still waters now a graveyard for the ill-fated flight. The crash sent shockwaves through the aviation world. The investigation began, piecing together the events that led to the tragic descent. Salvage teams worked tirelessly, retrieving what they could from the wreckage strewn across the unforgiving Everglades. Among the recovered items were parts, perfectly functional, that were later incorporated into other Eastern Airlines aircraft. And that's when the whispers began. It started subtly. Mechanics at Eastern Airlines maintenance hangars swore they saw shadowy figures lurking near planes that had received salvaged parts from Flight 401. Strange noises, unexplained cold spots, and tools going missing became commonplace. The whispers grew louder. The haunting of Flight 401 had begun. Among the numerous accounts of strange occurrences, one figure emerged with chilling regularity: Don Repo, Flight 401's senior flight engineer. He was a well-respected, jovial man in life, known for his dedication and warm smile. In death, however, he seemed to carry a warning. Flight attendants on planes with salvaged parts reported seeing Repo in the galley, his spectral form appearing as a hazy reflection, his blue eyes reflecting an unsettling sadness. He wouldn't speak, but his presence was enough to send chills down their spines. Some claim to have smelled his pipe tobacco, a scent that vanished as quickly as it appeared. Each appearance, though fleeting, was followed by a mechanical issue, a near miss, a problem that forced the pilots to ground the aircraft. Was Don Repo trying to warn them, to prevent another tragedy? The line between coincidence and the supernatural blurred with each ghostly encounter. His appearances were not just limited to the galley. Some pilots reported seeing him in the cockpit, silently observing the instruments. His presence was a harbinger, a silent guardian perhaps, trying to avert disaster. The stories grew, each more eerie than the last, painting a picture of a man who, even in death, was dedicated to the safety of the passengers and crew. Was it a warning from beyond, or just the imagination of a frightened crew? The mystery of Don Repo endures, leaving us to wonder about the thin veil between our world and the next. The ghost of Captain Bob Loft, the man who had steered Flight 401 on its final tragic descent, was also sighted. His appearances were less frequent, but no less chilling. One pilot, upon seeing Loft in the cockpit, claimed the captain leaned down, pointed at a malfunctioning instrument panel, and then vanished. The pilot, shaken but composed, immediately grounded the plane. Upon inspection, a critical error was discovered in the very instrument Loft had pointed to. Had his ghostly intervention prevented another disaster? The incident sent a wave of unease through the airline. The whispers grew into hushed conversations, the stories spreading like wildfire among the staff. The eerie events continued. Every time a part from Flight 401 was installed on another aircraft, the paranormal activity seemed to intensify. Eastern Airlines, facing mounting pressure from its terrified staff, found itself at a crossroads. They had dismissed the initial reports as superstition, the ramblings of a traumatized workforce. But the sheer volume of accounts, the consistency of the stories, and the undeniable link to the salvaged parts made it impossible to ignore. The airline, known for its rationality and commitment to safety, was now facing an enemy it couldn't fight with logic or technology. The haunting of Flight 401 had become a chilling reality. Section 7. Eastern Airlines takes action. An attempt to quell the fear. In a desperate attempt to quell the growing fear and restore normalcy, Eastern Airlines made a drastic decision. They quietly began removing all the salvaged parts from Flight 401 from their operational aircraft. The whispers, however, persisted. It seemed the ghosts of Flight 401 had become inseparable from the very fabric of Eastern Airlines, their presence woven into the airline's history. The haunting had taken on a life of its own, fueled by fear, speculation, and the undeniable human need to find meaning in tragedy. Section 8. John G. Fuller's The Ghost of Flight 401, Separating Fact from Fiction. In 1976, author John G. Fuller, known for his meticulous research and captivating storytelling, published The Ghost of Flight 401. The book meticulously documented the chilling accounts of the hauntings, quickly becoming a bestseller and catapulting the story of Flight 401 into the public consciousness. Fuller's work, while criticized by some for blurring the lines between fact and speculation, brought the haunting of Flight 401 to a wider audience. The book sparked a debate that continues to this day. Skeptics argued that the hauntings were nothing more than mass hysteria, a coping mechanism for a grieving workforce. Believers, however, clung to the chilling accounts, convinced that the souls lost on that fateful night were reaching out, their stories a reminder of the fragility of life and the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. Section 9. The Enduring Mystery. Why did Don Repo's ghost appear? Of all the ghostly figures reported, Don Repo's remains the most enduring. Was his presence a warning, a desperate attempt to prevent further tragedies? Some believe he was drawn to the salvaged parts, his essence somehow imprinted on the metal and wiring. Others speculated that he roamed the airline, a restless spirit unable to find peace. Whatever the reason, Repo's ghostly appearances have secured his place in aviation lore, a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that may surround us. His story, more than any other, fuels the debate about the nature of life, death, and the possibility that something of ourselves might linger after we are gone. Section 10. Conclusion. The Legacy of Flight 401. The haunting of Flight 401, whether a product of collective grief or a genuine paranormal phenomenon, has left an indelible mark on aviation history. It serves as a chilling reminder of the human cost of tragedy and the mysteries that may lie beyond the veil of death. The stories continue to circulate, whispered among airline staff, shared in hushed tones by those who claim to have encountered the spectral passengers of Flight 401. The legacy of Flight 401, much like the wreckage scattered across the Everglades, is a haunting tapestry of tragedy, speculation, and the enduring question of what happens to us after we die. It is a story that continues to fascinate and terrify, a testament to the enduring power of the unknown.